Welcome everyone back to Raw Sport. We are back with Australian boxing legend and Hall of Famer, the man himself, Mr. Jeff Fenech. Jeff, how are you, mate?
Always good, and I love talking to you, so it's all great. I love being able to just tell the truth.
Jeff, you're part of the furniture here, mate. You know, we've had a few chats. Every time we talk, we send people into a bit of a whirlwind. Huge news the last 24 to 48 hours. Tim Tszyu, he's got rid of his whole team. What's going on, mate?
Maybe listen to you, mate. I'm not too sure, but look, it's a big thing for Tim to do. But like I said, when you've been through what he's been through over the last year, you need to make changes. And I mean, look, it takes a man to do that, and that's what Tim is. Tim's a great young man that showed the courage to do something that nobody thought he would do.
Now, my biggest question is it too little too late?
Look, he's got to do things properly again. I've heard him say that he's going to America to live and those kind of things. I've seen it on a podcast with Josh Mansour. And I mean, if he thinks he's going to go to America and start sparring there every day and think it's going to be easy, it's going to be very difficult. Tim's got to slowly take it one step at a time again. Look, he gets off that plane in America, everybody's going to want to kill him. He was a former world champion. He needs to be there with somebody who is going to look after him as good as he can be looked after, and then I have no doubt that he can get back to the top.
So this is the problem. We've seen this in the past where athletes have made moves late in their career, and for some reason they think that the solution is going to America, but you're going from an environment here where you're the real deal, you're the center of attention, to just being another guy in the gym there.
Well, it's different. You're going from somewhere that you love to being somewhere that people are going to hate you. I hope he doesn't think that these guys are going to, these guys at his bars are going to help him in any way. And listen, after what he's been through over the last year or so, he needs to get his confidence back. He needs to have somebody that can say who's the right sparring partner. He needs somebody that's going to control the sparring as well as who he's sparring. So there's a lot of work to be done. But like I said, I honestly believe that Tim can do it again, and I obviously believe that if he gets the right team, and I'm hearing a few, names spread out, that I think that they'll be able to help him a great deal.
But getting rid of your whole team and starting fresh from zero, Jeff, that's got to be a bit of a concern.
It's either a concern or it's what somebody's been saying for the last 5 years, telling the truth. And like I said, I'm no disrespecting. Glenn Jennings was a security for Costa Tszyu. He was never his manager. He travelled, like I said, now even just to hear him the other day, before Tim announced, he's saying how, mate, Tim will fight anybody again. That's what's great about Tim. He should even be mentioning that. All he should be doing is trying to look after Tim, not saying, yeah, Tim's this most courageous guy in the world and he'll fight anybody. To me, that was the wrong thing to say. What he should have been saying is, I'm going to care about this kid. He needs to be nurtured again. He needs to take it one step at a time, and then when the time's right, we'll challenge again.
Jeff, monumental errors that really pushed Tim's career over the edge when he was at a point in his career where he was flying. Before the Fundora fight, Fundora was a late replacement, 6'6" southpaw, no rematch agreement in place. That was the first one. Then the comeback against fighting that ruthless Russian who absolutely, unfortunately, hurt him. And then again, the chasing of Fundora. We can't change anything, right? But those three instances in Tim's career could be the ones that derail him and very hard to come back from. We didn't see anything different. In fact, we saw regression. And at 30 years old, how much can he possibly change after the hurt and damage he's had in the last 24 months?
Yeah. Tim's only ever had one game plan, and I have no doubt. I'd like you to listen to every fight that Tim's ever had or he's ever been involved in. And what I'd like to hear is have they ever given him any advice in the corner? They've never given him advice. They've been blessed that he's winning. They give him a drink of water. They send him back out, and he does the job. He's in a situation now where when he goes back to the corner now, he needs somebody to tell him what's happening there and what he has to do. And from there, I'm sure that he can become better. But like I said, it's really, really hard to change when you're 30 years of age.
Jeff, you were quoted by Main Event TV here in Australia saying that if you had Tim, you'd fight Fundora 10 times and you would beat Fundora 10 times. What do you see? What do you see that others don't see, Jeff?
I see every mistake that he makes. I see everything that he does that is great for Fundora, not for himself. And like I said, when he went back after the first round, when he made those mistakes over and over, somebody should be saying, "Don't do that. You've got to do this." And then no, listen, like I said, there was not a word said. Like I said, I'm pretty blessed. I was with his dad when they were here, and when Tim was born, and I've been, what I believe, I've been close friends. Although we've had these frictions because I tell the truth, but I'm never going to stop telling the truth. And if I get the opportunity to talk to Tim, I will tell him the way or my honest opinion in what I think he should do.
Jeff, you got the camera, you got the stage, you got people watching. Every time you join us, he goes bonkers. What would you tell Tim if you had him today, right now, in front of you?
The first thing I would tell him is don't rush to America. You don't need to. It would be great to go. The people, listen, how can America be easier than it is here, or how can America make him better? Like I said, he's 30 years of age. The thing that'll happen in America is, like I said, every time he walks into the gym, there'll be guys lining up trying to say, "Look what I've done to the ex-world champion." He doesn't need that. He needs to be settled in. He needs to be, taken around one step at a time. And let him get that confidence back. Let him get that book, and let him learn a couple of extra ways. Like I know there's not just an A plan or an A and B. There's an A, B, and a C plan. And if you can implement them in a round or in a fight, if you have to do them all, you got to do them all. Tim Ali has only ever had one plan, and he's been blessed to have won them. And like I said, listen, let my grandmother have trained Tim Tszyu, and she would have trained this great fighter. She didn't have to tell him anything. She could have just watched him punch the bag. These guys, and no disrespect to Igor, no disrespect to any of those guys, they've got no idea what they're talking about. They've never been in a fight. They've sat in the corner. Johnny Lewis was the trainer of Costa Tszyu. Igor was there sitting around with Tim's beautiful grandfather and so on. But like I said, these guys are on their high horse because they're blessed. They've got two young men that have got the most amazing genes and have got so much potential. And what's going to happen, what happened to Tim will happen to Nikita as well. I don't want to say this in a bad way. When he has to go to that next level, and there's nobody there to tell him, he can't get to that next level.
So why are they making the same mistake, Jeff? Why is Nikita still with that same crew?
All these people talk about his loyalty. And let me tell you something now. If Glenn Jennings or any of them guys were loyal, they would say, listen, we're not the right people to take to that next stage. Like I said, I don't really care what any of them say. And here they go. I'll bring this up. They're trying to promote Brock Jarvis against Nikita Tszyu. They just had a full campaign when Liam Paro won, and it was Brock getting knocked out. What a way to promote a fight. People watching that. And, like I said, for me, Brock fit and healthy and with the right preparation can fight anybody. So, like I said, but when I seen that, I thought, to me, it was pretty low. Pretty damaging to see. Here's this kid they're talking about. It's going to be in this next super fight, and they're showing him get knocked out by Liam Paro. That's pretty cheap shit as far as I'm concerned.
All right. So we've established, Tim, the move to America, in your opinion, is not the right move. He's got all these...
Listen, wait there. I'm not saying that he couldn't go there later. There's no problem with that. But he has to do his stuff here, get his confidence back here. Like I said, imagine him going over there. Who do you think he's going to spar? Who do you think they're going to throw in with him? They're going to throw people who can fight. And if he doesn't do well, he's going to be negative. I don't care who you are, what you are. If I went sparring and got beat up on one, I'm going to go home negative, mate. I I'd want to kill myself. So he's got to be careful. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have used that term, but I wouldn't be happy with myself. So he's got to, he's got a big decision to make. And like I said, it's an easy decision. So I'm going to America and that, but it's not that easy. And change is the hardest thing in the world to make. And good change is what he needs. He needs people around him. And I know that like I said, some of the team that he's got around him will definitely care about him 100%. But if I was them, the first thing I would be telling him is don't rush. Don't leave your family and rush over here to do anything. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford just, beat Canelo at 38. Tim's 30. Take your time, champ. There's plenty of time. You're loved here in Australia. You've got a world name, so just take it easy.
He seems to be very, very in a rush at the moment. A few days after his fight, he was preparing for a half marathon. I seen his interview yesterday. I don't think he's in a good place, Jeff.
Listen, without doubt, we can sit down and we can talk, and I've listened to Tim talk. He sounds unreal, but listen, what comes out of here and what's in here is completely different. Yeah, he has to. Like I said, I remember losing. I remember how I felt. Of course, I still felt invincible, but I wasn't anymore. And like I said, Tim's 30. Like I said, he hasn't been. He's been some great fights, but he hasn't been hurt very, very often. So, if he does things properly, I honestly believe that he can reach the top again. And look, if he has the right fights and build him up to another big occasion, he can also do what most people in the world want to do and earn great money. And that's my job as a trainer, my job as a mentor is to make sure that's put in place before him trying to say he's the greatest fighter in the world again. Make sure that his family and he's looked after well.
Jeff, here's one for you, mate. I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you do if he came to you today? What's the first thing that you would do with Tim Tszyu?
We'll take him out the back, put some pads on, and show just show him 2 or 3 things that he does in every fight, and explain to him how wrong they are and how much it could change his career if he did it right, And then I would also tell him, Tim, please don't. I'm talking as a friend. Forget about him coming to me. But my advice would be, I'd love to show him those things I just told you, and I'd love to tell him, listen, don't rush to America because I know what's going to happen. And I took all my boys to America for spar, and every time they got here, it was never a spar. It was a full-on fight.
Absolutely. All right. We wish him all the best. Hopefully he settles down and doesn't rush to America, because I can tell you, I just got back from America and I was in the boxing scene. It's not the solution. Absolutely not. There's plenty of resources here that he can tap into.
Let me just say again, I love Tim for his mindset and stuff. But you know what he needs? He needs somebody to do what just you and I are doing now. Sit down and talk to him and talk through what he's thinking and explain to him, the good side and the bad side to what he's thinking of doing. Of course, he wants to go back over there and prove he's the best. But like I said, that takes time. And especially after what's happened during his last 3 fights, he needs time. He needs, he needs somebody who's going to guide him and somebody who he can trust in, and not that somebody who knows about the sport of boxing to take him to that next level again. I have no doubt that he can get there, but he needs help.
Baby steps, absolutely. All right, we had a big final last night. Liam Parrow set the stage, or hit the stage in Australia. A huge media campaign beforehand. The stage was his. What do you reckon of Liam's performance and where he's going?
Forget about his performance at the moment, but isn't it sad that we have to see Liam, fighting to become world champion again? When he was world champion, nobody in Australia gave a rat's ass about him. That's the typical part of our sport. Liam's got so much potential. I've watched Liam rip through the DiCarlo since he first started and seen all the potential that he had. And he wins a world title overseas. He defends it against one of the biggest punches in the game. And really nobody in Australia knew. Now all of a sudden, Fox, and the Rose brothers, who are my great friends, but now he's on TV. And who knows again? I pray that it's not too late, but it could be. This kid had just done what no Australian's done for a long, long time. He beat one of he was the most outside favourite in the fight, and he was able to win. But nobody really knows about it. Now they know that he had this beautiful fight last night, and he's back on track. But nobody had the opportunity to watch him in his last couple of fights. So, which is Australian boxing at its best.
Why is that? How do you beat the boogeyman? Nobody wants to fight Sabril Matias. He beats him in his hometown, and nobody in Australia knows him.
Quite simple how to beat him. He has the skill and the ability, and
but how does nobody know him after such a big occasion?
Well, like I said, the people who run some of our organisations here in the country, they only look after the people they want to look after. They don't think about boxing as a whole. Rugby league it's as a whole. Cricket, boxing's divided, until we all unite and get together. And Fox and the people who run Fox give everybody the same opportunity. Don't have to be one promoter. There's more than one promoter in the world. Yeah, that's why we did look at Joya Pataya, the best fighter Australia's had for years. Look at George Kembos, what he done. Although he got with Fox. Look what Liam Paro done. Nobody's witnessed them. Look what, like I said, Jai and Liam. Please, two of our great fighters, in this era. Nobody really knows who they are.
Jai Pataya was at the big event, mega fight in Vegas. He was invited onto the stage for Inside the Ring with Max Kellerman, Antonio Tava, Lennox Lewis, Roy Jones, all the biggest names in boxing. He was on their platform. 99% of Australia doesn't even know him. Why?
Thank Fox. Thanks Steve Crawley and his team at Fox. I mean, that's simple. That's the answer. I mean, why wouldn't you, Steve? Why wouldn't you have somebody who can say this kid's going to be the next biggest thing in boxing and sign him up immediately? Because they don't have anybody to do that. Listen, you're either on their side or you're on no side in Australian boxing. I'm so happy to see the Rose brothers at the moment doing stuff with Angelo DiCarlo, and they should be doing it with everybody. Everybody should be sitting down and having a piece of TV time if they've got the fighters they can. And how do you build somebody up if nobody watches them? How do you become popular?
Yeah, it's crazy how Liam, when he was on the top of the world, nobody knew him, and now
he'll get back there.
Yeah, now back on his journey back up, he's all over media here. So it goes to show you the power of Fox is just undeniably powerful. Like they're second to none. But anyway, all right. Mega fight on the weekend. I have to get your opinion on this. You would have watched it with very close lens. What do you make of the fight?
Crawford?
Crawford-Canelo fight.
It's the funniest thing. Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
I read a statement from Teofimo Lopez. And Teofimo said, which resonated, which stuck ringing bells in my head. Hey, if you're small or big, if you can fight, you can fight. Don't worry about weight. Hey, mate, listen, I sparred Jeff Harding every day. I sparred heavyweights. So I sparred everybody every day. And when he said that, I really favoured Crawford. But when he said that, I told so many people out there to back Crawford. I know quite a few of my friends won a lot of money because, Crawford can fight. Listen, I don't care if there's a big guy walks in his door. If I can fight, I'm going to fight him. I believe in myself, then I'm going to do what I've got to do, Crawford's always had that self-belief. I mean, when I seen him here in Australia, hearing him talk about only a $200,000 watch or a $2 watch, they both tell the same time, driving a $20,000 car instead of a $500,000, they go to the same place and get you there. I mean, that guy's so down to earth. And he, at the moment, is the face of boxing, and he should be the face of boxing. Everybody should get him on the podcast, and everybody in the world should listen to him because he will give some great advice. I've listened to him over the last month or so, and some of the things he says are just so real. He's a real man. He's got one wife, 6 beautiful children. The happiest guy in the world, and so he should be. And now he's just proved to the world that he's the best fighter in the world.
Jeff, I had him on this podcast. I interviewed him out in Lakemba, the blessed land in Sydney. And, mate, he's so casual. He's so relaxed. I got him, what are you doing to prepare for, the biggest name in boxing? He goes, I go, have you watched any of his fights? He goes, nope. He goes, fight week, I watch a few of his fights, and that's it. Before
Down
that, I'm
to
not
earth,
interested.
mate. Bud's
Doesn't
so
care.
down to earth.
Doesn't care, mate. Doesn't care.
And this win's not going to change him either. All he'll say is, "I told you so," because he believes in himself. He lets these do the talking.
Do you think we'll see him fight again, Jeff?
I hope so, and I maybe hope not, because not that he would lose. I would just think what a way to go out. But maybe, listen, maybe if he does have another fight, he'll get over 100 million. The other guy will get, and he deserves it.
Last one, Dana White in boxing. What do you think of the event overall?
Mate, I've said it for 100 years that we need somebody like Dana White. We need somebody who's strong, powerful, and who's respected. The only people who don't respect him are, guys who can't make it. Everybody that makes it, he's helped them, and he's very, very loyal. I've seen him do some amazing things to people he don't even know. He's one of the most generous guys I've met. I've been to his house and met him and had a great talk to him a couple of times. And like I said, I think it's time that boxing found somebody who's real, who's going to, say an ace is an ace, and a black card's a black card, and a red card's a red card. That's Dana. You're going to love him or hate him for it, but that's who he is.
There was little tension, though, with your friend Mauricio and him going in the ring, and Mauricio said he's going to take a few security guards to stop him from going in. Did you hear much about that?
No, I didn't. I didn't know that.
Well,
but I can tell you now, I did tell Mauricio months and months and months ago that, these guys don't worry about WBC, WBA, IBF, whatever it is. They're worried about themselves. So, I mean, I told them there's going to be some heated times ahead, unless, like I said, about boxing working together. They're trying to make one champion, but they've got to realise that people like Mauricio have been around for a long, long time. He's, in his father's footsteps. There are a lot of people who love Mauricio and the WBC. There are people who do the same with the other organisations. But I've been blessed to be around Mauricio's father and Mauricio. And Mauricio's father treated me exactly the same way he treated Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, and made me feel a very, very special fighter. So, I mean, to get rid of one of those guys or to stop that would be disappointing. I'd like to think again that they're adults. They can sit down and talk about it and come to a conclusion, and hopefully the conclusion will be the right and what's best for the sport.
They showed up, Jeff. They came. They created a beautiful ring and a beautiful bell. They really stepped up their game for the main event, and they were all in the ring.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, for me, my name on whatever it is, Instagram and stuff, is Jeff Fenech WBC. I'm the most proudest WBC fighter ever. I know what they've done for me. I know how they helped me, and I know how they help everybody else. They're completely different to the other organisations.
All right, Jeff, I know you're very busy. You got a lot on. Thank you very much for squeezing us in. Once again, mate, I absolutely appreciate your time. Any final words for the people out there?
I'll do the clap back like Oscar De La Hoya, mate. Hey, I hope people enjoy what I'm doing. I'm just telling the truth, and sometimes you get in trouble for telling the truth, but it's the truth.
Australian boxing legend, Hall of Famer, the man himself, Mr. Jeff Fenech. Thank you very much for joining me on Raw Sport. Take care, my man.
Thanks,
Always good to chat.